and welcome to Cultural Apologists React for today, August 26th, 2024. This is an AI-generated podcast and can make mistakes. Use it for generating possible ideas, but don't rely on it as an authoritative guide to the day's news or to the details of cultural apologetics. In the news today, South Africa's new Environment Minister, Deon George, is seeking a legal settlement to protect African penguins from extinction by expanding no-fishing zones around their breeding colonies. The move comes as the penguin population faces a significant threat, with numbers declining at a rate of 7.9% per year and only around 10,000 breeding pairs remaining, down from up to 1 million a century ago. So how might we think about this story from the standpoint of cultural apologetics? The story of South Africa's imperiled penguins serves as a poignant reminder of our responsibility to care for creation. As C.S. Lewis once noted in his book, The Abolition of Man, man's power over nature is not the power of a lord over his subjects, but the power of an administrator over a trust estate. This concept of stewardship is particularly relevant when considering the plight of the African penguin. As we reflect on the situation, it becomes clear that human activities are having a devastating impact on the penguin population. The expansion of no-fishing zones around their breeding colonies may seem like a simple solution, but it highlights the complex web of relationships between humans and the natural world. Lewis, in his book The Four Loves, writes about the concept of need love versus gift love. While our need for resources and food drives us to exploit the environment, gift love involves a selfless and sacrificial love that prioritizes the well-being of others. In this case, the penguins are not simply a resource to be exploited, but rather creatures deserving of our care and compassion. The fact that their numbers have declined from up to 1 million to just over 10,000 breeding pairs is a stark reminder of our failure as stewards of creation. Lewis would likely argue that this decline is a symptom of a larger problem: our disconnection from the natural world and our failure to recognize the intrinsic value of non-human life. The story also highlights the tension between competing interests and values. The fishing industry, environmental groups, and government agencies all have different priorities and agendas. As Lewis notes in Mere Christianity, we are told that the two great commandments are to love God and to love our neighbor as ourselves. However, when it comes to issues like this, we often find ourselves torn between conflicting loyalties. In this case, Minister Deon George's call for a meeting with the fishing industry and environmental groups is a step in the right direction. By bringing together different stakeholders, he may be able to facilitate a more nuanced discussion about the values at play. However, as Lewis would caution, we must be careful not to prioritize short-term gains over long-term sustainability. Ultimately, the story of South Africa's imperiled penguins serves as a wake-up call for us to re-examine our relationship with the natural world. As Lewis writes in The Weight of Glory, "There are no ordinary people. You have never talked to a mere mortal." This perspective reminds us that every creature, from the humblest penguin to the mightiest human, is imbued with inherent value and worth. As we consider the fate of these remarkable birds, let us not forget our responsibility as stewards of creation. We must recognize the intricate web of relationships between humans and the natural world and prioritize the well-being of all creatures. Only then can we truly say that we are loving our neighbor, including the penguins, as ourselves. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Cultural Apologists React. Be sure to come back tomorrow for a new take on the day's news from the standpoint of Christian cultural apologists.